Hey guys, how you doing? Zach, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you, boss. Can you hear me?
Yeah. I got some Viking music going on in the background.
Oh, I heard it, man. I'm loving it.
So yeah, let's give it a couple of minutes, and let's go. Let's start with the meat of it at I guess 9 sharp. Let's get some people some time. 13 Nick, how you doing, everybody? Checking in, say hello. We got Zach here. Whiskey Edge, what's up, man? Burmanter, how you doing? Susie, Astor, nice meeting you guys. Thanks for joining. NJ Bourbon Hunt at the house. Amazing stuff. Let's see here. IG Highland Park live with Zach. Let's pin that comment so that way it's here. 13 Nick, how you doing, man? You won a lot of different contests from me before. I think you support my Simply Cognac account too. How's it going? Truth and Whiskey, how you doing? Everybody signing on. What's up? So Zach, how was your night so far, man? You had dinner already?
Oh, I've already had dinner. Made the rounds earlier today. Now I'm just excited to drink some good whiskey with the whole Instagram world.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to learning. You did a phenomenal job when I met you in Chicago, and you have a really great way about you. And I meet a lot of brand ambassadors. I've met a lot of them over the years, and you're by far one of the top fives that I've run into. Your the charisma that you had, and with the personality that you have, the way you portrayed yourself and the way you portrayed the brands was phenomenal. So I was really looking forward since the moment I saw you to be able to. This sounds almost gay, but it's not. All right, it's like a whiskey bro thing. To be able to do this with you, all right, brother. So I'm looking forward to this.
I love it. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. I'm really lucky where I actually have a great brand that I don't have to fake being proud to work for. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, actually, my day job is as a distributor in New Jersey, so I deal with a lot of brands. Luckily, I've been blessed over the years to be able to work with your brands, and Edrington in general, the parent company, and they're a delight to work with. My local team for Edrington's amazing, and of course, about a couple years ago, I ran into last year I met Nicholas, and he's a great dude. And now Raquel.
Man, that guy.
So let's I guess how many people we got? 7 people on. More people will sign in later. Whiskey USA is on. All right, let's call it a night. Cello is here. Let's all leave. Cello, say hi to Zach for me, man. He's a good dude.
Hey guys, how we doing?
Good. So everybody, this is Instagram Live with tonight's Poison and Zach from Highland Park. We're going to be going over a few things, learning a little bit about the brand. Hopefully you guys have your Highland Parks out. Hopefully you guys went out to stores and bought some. Specifically today, we're going to be live tasting the 12 and the Magnus. Beautiful story, beautiful drams. Great way to start off the holiday season. That's why I'm wearing my festive shirt.
Oh, yes.
It says, I drink and I know things. And look, he's got the Highland Park pin on.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So happy holidays, everybody. This is going to be my last Instagram Live like this for the holiday season. And I'm glad to have done it with Zach. So, Zach, tell us what do you do over there? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I've been in the whiskey world for about 3 years now as a supplier. I used to work with Berclotti, another great brand, and found hopefully my forever home here with Highland Park about a year and a half ago. I've been in the booze and kind of bar side of the world for the last 13 years. Found a passion, ran some whiskey clubs over in Michigan. Then about 5 years ago, moved over to Chicago. Wanted to learn everything there was to know about the bar world, and finally saw some of these folks come into the whiskey bar I was running here in Chicago, and they made the deal sweet enough where I had to go.
Yeah.
So kind of evolved into that, and Shoot, my first dram of whiskey was at the tender age of obviously 21. Maybe a little bit before that, and my first dram of whiskey was Scotch, and ever since then it's been a done deal, and I know, fell in love.
I'm going to interrupt here and there because we're going to have some questions come through. Truth and Whiskey's asking which bar.
So in Chicago,
not Applebee's, right?
Not Applebee's. So in Chicago, I was running Hampton Social and then the downstairs speakeasy whiskey bar called The Basement.
Awesome. I know I'm thirsty, man. Let's crack open a bottle and sip along, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of it later, but at least we can sip a little bit, right? What do you want to start with first?
So we'll start with a Magnus here. Magnus is kind of my favorite everyday sipper. It's a whiskey that is going to be quaffable and approachable for every single person that drinks any type of spirit. So what we have here is kind of the introduction into what Highland Park's all about. It's going to be a 10-year-old whiskey aged exclusively in American oak, Oloroso sherry casks. You'll hear me say sherry and Oloroso sherry cask a lot. It's something that's really big and important into just what we have as a company and what we want to make our whiskey taste like. And we did something really special with our cask. So with this being exclusively American oak, we wanted to kind of give some of the bourbon drinkers a way to get into Scotch. So with this, you're going to get a lot of, well, first off, I hope everyone has a little taste right now because, good God, it's delicious, and I am thirsty.
Yep. Cheers, man.
Skål, as we say up in the Orkneys.
Oh yeah, all the Viking shows I watch on Netflix. Skål! Everybody goes crazy. It's so powerful. It's like the most powerful toast in the history.
It is. It gets you right to the point, and it's infectious, man. So yeah, a little bit just about Highland Park in general. We're a single malt Scotch distillery out of the Orkney Islands of Scotland. If you don't know where that is, just imagine north and a little bit more north. We're one of the most northern island chains in Scotland. We are the northernmost distillery in the world. So we're so north that we actually consider ourselves more Viking than we do Scottish. Hence why Jazz and I are saying Skål all the time and Viking music is being played. We are truly a whiskey made by modern-day Vikings. 75% of our staff has Viking ancestry, and for you modern-day Vikings. So, delicious whiskey. All of our whiskey is going to be pretty much almost exclusively Oloroso sherry casks. A lot of big, bright, fruit-forward notes, and then lightly peated. We just have a touch of that smoke. Probably about a quarter of the level of like a Lafroig or a Lagavulin, which, trust me, I love. But this is going to be kind of the stepping stone into peated whiskeys, and this specifically Magnus is going to be the stepping stone into what Highland Park is all about.
Very cool, man. I'm going to flip back and forth a little bit to talk a little bit more about yourself. I know you talked about starting off in a bar and stuff like that. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? That's those of you who might know Zach already, have met him before, maybe they'll learn something new about you that they didn't know. Maybe a talent, a hidden talent, anything that comes to mind you could share with us about yourself that we'll be surprised to hear and we don't know already.
All right, so if you know me, I'm large in stature. I'm 6'4". I'm a big dude, and I love playing basketball, man. It's what I do. I play pickup basketball on the south side of Chicago. And I have here's my hidden talent. I have a 3-ball that I could rival with most anyone on that court. So see a 280-pound, 6'5", 6'4" guy draining a 3 in your face is pretty fun and exciting. As he's wearing a Highland Park whiskey shirt.
That's funny. Yeah, I think New Jersey Bourbon Hunt is commenting saying you're a half Viking. That's why.
Oh, I definitely am. Definitely am half Viking. I'm going to be a little bit of Swedish and a lot of German, so I do have some of that Viking and Nordic influence. Actually, it sucks because probably about a month and a half ago, I shaved off my beard. I had a beard probably down to like right there. So they actually told me if I can grow my beard out long enough, so that I could braid it, I get bonused out. Unfortunately, standing up in the wedding, I did have to shave it all off and be respectful to my best friend in the world. So that kind of went out, and I told him he owes me $5,000.
That's pretty funny. Guys who are listening in, Zach was gracious enough to send me a lot of goodies that we're going to be giving out. I'll show a couple of these just to as a teaser. Zach, you can tell me exactly their official name and why they're so unique, because everything you sent me is pretty unique. What we're going to do, guys, we're going to have a little Q&A throughout the evening, and basically shoot me a DM via Instagram, or if you guys have a laptop handy, actually, you know what, do a DM and send me the best answer. We're not going to be able to monitor the chat as much, so I might go back and forth a little bit, but that's the best way we're going to do it. So the glass that I'm drinking in here, it's the official Highland Park glass.
Yes, sir. So that's what I'm drinking out of. That's what our global ambassador, our whiskey maker, whenever he's tasting stuff fresh from the barrel, that's what we drink out of. Vikings are a little bit bigger people, and we have bigger faces, and our faces don't necessarily fit properly in the Glencairns, so we wanted to make a little bit larger scale Glencairn. It still funnels all of those aromas perfectly, while just being a little bit larger. And honestly, this is the only glass I'll ever use and drink whiskey out of when I'm at home. So it's pretty fantastic. Definitely has a lot of the ruins and a lot of just kind of our ethos with Highland Park etched into the back there.
It's got a lot of weight to it too. Typically, you compare to your typical Glencairn glass, this is like twice the weight. It feels like the base is really heavy. It's got a really nice feel to it, and it fits nicely in the hand. And I feel like when sometimes you want to hold a glass to warm up the whiskey, this is the ideal glass to do it, and it is perfect. It's a great glass.
Yeah, I love it. So I sent you a couple of those. So
yeah, I got at least looks like at least well, you sent me 6, so I think only 4 are going to be given out. I'm going to keep 2 myself. And then this guy here. First of all, I want to go back and just give a shout out to Susie. She says, "Me too." I'm assuming she means she's half Viking too. That's what she was trying to say. So, guys,
I was assuming she had a 6.
Yeah,
I was assuming she had a 6-3 ball.
Yeah, maybe that too. You're right. This is completely interactive. Those of you guys coming in and out, feel free to comment, mention some things, ask questions. That's what we're here for, to expand your Viking Highland Park knowledge. So this box is super heavy.
Yeah.
So talk to me about this bad boy. This is nice. And it says Lagoon.
So it's a fun, that Laguz is actually a style of glassware. So it's a bigger water kind of pitcher. Whenever I do large tastings and we need a little bit of water to add into your whiskey, it's the perfect vessel for that. Or if you guys are just having some fun, a bunch of people together, throw all your whiskey in there. It's a perfect serving vessel as well. I think Truth and Whiskey just asked what brand of glass that first glass was. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's no brand name on it. I'll reach out to you once I figure that out. So
cool. So that's another one of the giveaways. I'm going to really quickly, rather than talk about it too much because I don't want to waste too much time on it, I'm going to really quickly show all the giveaways that you've sent. So that way you guys get an idea. We have a 2XL, size 2XL sweatshirt, Highland Park official sweatshirt. All right. So that's going to be given out tonight also. We have, describe this for me, because this was really cool. I don't have it open fully.
So it's a proper bar apron, whether you're going to be bartending with it or cooking or grilling out with it. But it
looks like it's got some leather on it too, so it's really high quality.
Yeah. Oh, it's the best one I've ever had, and I used to buy them all the time.
And look at this bad boy. I almost want to keep this, but I'm going to give it out to a lucky winner. This is nice.
Yeah, it's a sexy backpack. If you unlatch that top, you'll see perfect places to hide away your Highland Park bottles right in front there. It's what I use every single day for my daily everything. So
again, another item that didn't feel like giving out, but it's the season for giving, so we're going to be giving. All right, so these are some of the items that we're going to be giving out. We have a lot of glassware. We have the water pourer. We have the sweatshirt. Oh, you know what? I found something in my personal stash. Believe it or not. Look at this. I don't know if you have one of these.
Whiskey, beer, whiskey, baby. That's my daily itinerary.
Yep. So this is a size medium. So we have an extra large sweatshirt and we have a t-shirt also. So I found this in my personal stash that I have not worn because for that one, for some reason, I needed a large for it to fit me properly. So I never wore that. So I have it brand new in mint. So those are some of the giveaways we're going to be giving out, guys. Thank you for joining in. If we just joined in, we have Zach here from Highland Park. Zach, tell us more about Highland Park. Let's get into a little bit more deeper into the history, I guess.
Absolutely. So history, we were established in 1798. So Magnus is actually named after our founder, Magnus Unsen. Honestly, that name, you can't get much more Viking than Magnus Unsen. I call him kind of the Protestant Batman of his day. By day, he was an officer of the church. By night, he was an illicit whiskey maker and smuggler. He honestly was just a badass, and we wanted to create a whiskey that was as badass as he was, and I think we did that with the Magnus. So history, 1798, we were established. We have been making single malt scotch ever since then. Probably 1969 is when we started putting out our own label of whiskey. And ever since then, we've been one of the most well appreciated and most awarded whiskeys in the world. Here's a fun little poll. There's a poll done of all the whiskey professionals, so people that make whiskey, sell whiskey, market whiskey, everything for all types, so Scotch, bourbon, Tennessee, Irish, and all that fun stuff. They were polled to see what kind of whiskey they drink when they're not drinking our own, and 67% of them said Highland Park. So people love our whiskey. If you talk to a whiskey aficionado, Highland Park's always in the top 5. And it's just one of the most beautiful whiskeys, most balanced whiskeys in the entire world. So we are a lightly peated whiskey, so we're going to have a touch of that smokiness that is a lot of people affiliate with Scotch. There is a way to measure peat called ppm. Standard peat whiskeys are around 50 ppm, and we're at 12. So very light and approachable in the peat. And in terms of terroir, all of our peat actually does come from the Orkney Islands, where during the winter, there's about 150 mile an hour wind gusts. So there's actually no trees. It's all heather. So our peat is actually 5,000 years of heather. So very aromatic and floral peat, creating that quintessential Highland Park flavor profile. And ever since then, we've been putting out some absolutely fantastic whiskey. Magnus is going to be one of our newer innovations. We're looking to, we call it the recruiter, to bring people from the dark side of bourbon and to the great, beautiful, and perfect side of Scotch. So you're going to have some of those vanilla, caramel, baking spice flavor profiles up front, still having a nice little Scotch backbone up there. And then we have our 12-year that we're going to be tasting here in a little bit, our flagship product. And then our 18-year, I didn't want to have to make all of you guys purchase an 18-year to go through this tasting. Although you should, because it's the best damn whiskey in the world.
We should have tasted it and made them salivate and go out tomorrow and spend their Christmas money for their wives on themselves.
Well, I do have this bottle sitting right next to me as well. I don't know if you can.
Oh, yes, yes.
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to drink that much of that. It's supposed to be another year for that bottle, but it's. Oh, man. Looking at that, I think I might break my vows today.
So we got a couple of questions coming in. Zach, is the Magnus a U.S. exclusive?
It's North America exclusive. So we have Canada and the United States. And I think we do have it in Mexico as well.
Gotcha. Jason Whiskey Wise, he says hi to both of us. I drink Scotch Joint, which is nice. He's a good dude. Okay, Zach, I saw that bag of yours, Scotch on the bay. Says, I saw that bag of yours last Friday at the Indianapolis HP dinner. Zoll.
Oh, yeah.
And we got Matthew Ryan who joined in. He's a good dude. He's a local New Jersey fellow. Hangs out. Like what you said, bringing to the right side. Tiffany's Bar joined, which is nice. Local local restaurant over here. So that's awesome. So I
Nice.
had some HP 30 a few weeks ago. That was pretty nice. Truth and Whiskey says.
Yeah, it's something special, man. The sherry it just comes through so much.
Cool, man. These packages changed how long ago? Like there have been some revisions, right?
Yeah, so last year, September, is when we kind of launched our new packaging. So we've always been the Viking sold Scotch. It's just probably about a year and a couple months ago in September, we truly got behind that marketing and packaging. So you'll see the new 12 here, right there. You'll see it kind of in that newer embossed bottle. It's very, yeah, you have, I think I saw the 15 or the 15 back there. So you'll see that kind of old school bottle. We upgraded it. Don't get me wrong, it's a sexy bottling, sexy package. It's just, you can't get much better than that. It stands out on the shelf. All the embossed is actually from a 12th century staves church in Norway. Truly was a modern marvel of the day. It was considered one of the world wonders for the amount of technology that had to go into it. But yeah, so we're packaging and just channeling our inner Viking soul.
Gotcha. Yeah, the packaging is beautiful. I think they did a wonderful job with it. Some people make revisions. I'm in the wine industry too, so some people go backward when they make a revision, but this was really a nice upgrade. It feels more luxurious. The glass is heavier. It feels nice in your hand. And people are intrigued when they walk by it. It doesn't matter which one. They're all wonderful to look at. I'm a big marketing guy. I enjoy packaging as much as juice. The story behind it comes out and sticks out more, and I really love the Highland Park bottles.
Here's
amazing
thing too. If you actually look at the bottom, I don't know if it's going to show up that well in the thing. It's actually the map of Scotland, and it
Really?
showcases where the Orkney Islands are. You can almost kind of see it. But if anyone else has a bottle, or if they're looking at a bottle on the shelf, it shows the map of Scotland and how far north and how far away from the main Scotland we actually are. So we truly are in a unique place, a Scotch made by unique people, the Vikings, and in a unique place, the Orkney Islands.
Gotcha. I think you went over some of these points already, but I'm going to ask it anyway. It's a kind of question I usually ask. There's a lot of the whiskeys out there, and especially now in the last 10, 15 years with the whiskey boom. What makes, if you were to pick a few bullet points as to why HP, why is it, what makes Highland Park different, what would it be?
So Highland Park, just tasting it, it's one of the most balanced whiskeys in the entire world. So fun little story, quick little sidetrack before I answer that question. When I was running a kind of whiskey club in Michigan, when I moved to Chicago, this was when I moved about 3 years before I started with Highland Park. My regulars gave me a bottle of Highland Park 18, knowing how much I loved it. So they knew how much I loved it for its balance, for its integrity, for everything about it. So pretty fantastic. But yes, we are the most balanced whiskeys in the world. We heavy sherry influence. So the Magnus and the 12-year that we have in front of us tonight are 100% Oloroso sherry cask aged. So we're not finished in sherry. We're aged full term in those sherry casks. So I'm a sherry whore. Give me that until I die and I'll be happy. So we have that going for us, along with our peat. Our peat, like I kind of touched on a little earlier, very unique and local peat, about 7 miles away from our distillery, and creates a very unique style of smoky peatiness into the whiskey, more aromatic and floral than it is going to be kind of that big oaky, smoky peat there. And then
Gotcha.
it just kind of all comes together and just creates just the most beautiful liquid that you can put in your mouth.
Very cool, man. We had a question here. Whiskey Edge, where is Zach from? The accent is interesting.
I'm from the Midwest. We were told that we have the least amount of accent in the world.
Hi, Mike. Whiskey Nowadays. Mike is online. Great job. Thanks for joining in. NJ Bourbon Hunt says, map of Scotland in case you get lost. Tiffany's Bar says, learn something now. That's cool. That is really cool. All right,
That's what
here
we're
comes
here
our
for.
first giveaway, guys. This is one of my favorite giveaways. This is my favorite question. I do this almost every single time. The only bad thing about this is you guys are going to all leave the Instagram live to take a picture. I love doing this. And if you notice, the last Instagram live I did, every Instagram live I do, I record it, and in a couple of weeks or so, I put it on YouTube, so it's there, and you guys can go back to it. So what I started doing, and I did it with the last one, basically is I'm going to ask you guys for your selfies holding a bottle of Highland Park, and you're going to DM them to me. And I'm going to, for the first 2 people to send it to me, is going to get the official Highland Park drinking glass, which is sexy as hell, and they're really, really nice. So first 2 people to send me that, but I'm also going to take that picture and include it in the YouTube video towards the end and give you guys a shout out. I'm going to include all the pictures, winners or not winners. So first 2 people to send me a selfie like this, holding a bottle, taking a selfie, bottle in your face must be in the picture. I want to see what you're drinking. DM that to me, and you guys will earn and win one of these glasses. Basically, it will be mailed to you. So let's get going. I know I'm going to lose some people, but let's do that when you guys get a chance. And the first 2 people I'll send that to. Let's keep going, brother. Which one is your favorite HP? First of all, is HP? Do people working for Highland Park like hearing that HP short, or do they want to hear Highland Park?
I mean, we call it HP internally. As many times as someone can say Highland Park is great. But in the whiskey world, if you shorten it to HP, we're completely okay with that.
HP reminds me. I grew up, here in the '80s. So HP reminds me of Hewlett Packard, also.
There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah. So as to my favorite, that is really hard. Really hard to say. It's like choosing your favorite child, obviously. But if price was not an object, it would be the Highland Park 25. It truly is one of the most expressive, youthful, with the wisdom and aging of a 25-year-old whiskey that I've ever tasted. Being in the whiskey world for 4 years now, and then being in the booze world for 13, drinking the Highland Park 25 reminds me why I fell in love with whiskey for the first time. Now, if we're talking about a little bit more conservative in terms of price, then the 18-year is by far and away going to be the best value of whiskey out there. It's going to be about 130, 140, depending where you're at. But this whiskey has been named best spirit in the world per Spirits Journal. And Jim Murray of the Whiskey Bible says the Highland Park 18 brings tears to his eyes. It's something absolutely phenomenally special. So yeah, my 2.
That's thanks for making my mouth salivate, although I'm already having some deliciousness here. Black Bunny Art says, "What's up, Dopra?" She calls me Dopra, like Oprah. And LJ Williams joined. Nick Cerise joined. My man, Know Your Whiskey joined. He's amazing. He does a great job with Instagram Lives. I learned a lot from him watching him. Whiskey and Whiskey USA says, "You're not a millennial, Jazz." Unfortunately, I think I just missed the mark.
I gotta call out Nick Cerise here. What's up, Brady? How you doing, man?
There you go. So let's before we get into the 12, you want to do another giveaway? What do you want to give away? You want to give away the water pourer, the backpack, the sweatshirt, or the T-shirt?
Let's keep people interested. Let's give away that backpack, man. That's sexy.
Let me be a hand model. You think about the question. All right, guys, get ready. So you guys are gonna have to DM me the answer, the correct answer for this.
So I said this earlier, but what type of barrels and casks is the Highland Park Magnus aged in? Just repeat the question. What type of casks is the Highland Park Magnus aged in?
Cool. Sounds like an interesting question that I want to see the answer for. I'm not going to say it out loud here, so let's wait and see what happens. I'll be announcing the winners in the next day or so once I compile everything. So let's get into the 12.
Yes, sir.
The 12 yet.
Sounds great. That's what I got right here. It's I don't know if I should say this. I hope my doctor's not listening. This is a whiskey that I drink every damn night. It's just so good. It's so the 12 year is obviously our flagship product. It's the reason why I still have a job to this day, pays the bills, and it's widely regarded as the most balanced whiskey. So what we have is going to be 100% Oloroso sherry casks, but this is where we use a very crafted approach of utilization of casks. So we have about a 60% Spanish oak Oloroso sherry casks and 40% American oak Oloroso sherry casks. So like I said before, we age all of our whiskey full term in those separate casks, and then we vat those different barrels together at the end in what I like to call the mom spaghetti effect. So my mom makes delicious spaghetti. I will fight anyone to the death about it if they think otherwise. And it's amazing the first day, but the second day, the third day after sitting in the fridge for so long, those flavors get a combine, they get a coalesce, and they get to harmonize together and create something even better. That's the same concept that we like to do with our whiskey is we take those different casks, those different whiskeys aged in those different casks, and then we put them in spent barrels after we vat those different barrels together. Put them in spent barrels so they can sit there and mom spaghettiify, or what the actual terminology is, cask harmonization, and then basically very gestalt-like, the sums of those different barrels are greater than the whole. So they become something unique and different than once they went into those barrels. So 12 year, absolutely phenomenal. I just want to raise a glass here, and if you all can say "Skål" with me, and make a nice little cheers to those Vikings. Skål!
Actually, skull. That's awesome. I like that, actually. Every time we do a toast, say it really loud in the house. So if somebody has wife and kids, they're like, what the hell just happened?
Oh, I had to close off the door, otherwise my dog would just go nuts. Very Viking-sized dog here with a 130-pounder over here.
Wow. Yeah. So a couple of you guys are putting some of the answers in messages here. Please, in order to win, you got to DM me, message me private in order to get the prizes, basically. So please DM me, and I'll have a timeline of who sent when. The first couple people who send it, basically will win the prizes. Let's do another giveaway. Let's do another. Let's see. I gave away 2 glasses already, right? So I have 4 more. Let's do another maybe 2 glasses.
Yeah, sounds good.
What's the question?
So where is our peat harvested from?
So first 2 people to DM me the right answer, message me the right answer, not here, in the private messages, will win a glass each.
So once again, where is our peat sourced from?
There you go. Awesome. What more can you tell us about HP, man, in general? Anything else that we missed? I mean, I know we generalized and we talked a little bit briefly about almost touched everything, but what else can you add?
So you'll see a lot of stuff and a lot of different products coming out from Highland Park. I just want to kind of touch on the reasoning behind some of these and kind of why we chose to do what we chose to do. Ooh, is that the Velknut Mini? Yeah, buddy. So you'll see a lot of products coming out, not just with Highland Park, but with a lot of different Scotch distilleries, bourbon distilleries, Japanese distilleries. You'll see non-age statement whiskeys coming out a lot. I mean, Macallan is going to be the forerunner in the non-age statement whiskey world. And I just kind of want to touch on that. I have a big soapbox that I stand on when it comes to the kind of just the usefulness and the actual telltale signs of whether an age statement in whiskey is real or not. So basically, to those that aren't necessarily familiar with what an age statement is, it's the youngest whiskey in the bottle. But when you have bourbon, all of the whiskeys aged in first fill casks only. But when you go into the Scotch world, there's no regulations to how many times you reuse the casks. So in the Scotch world, age statements don't mean anywhere near as much, just because these distilleries can reuse and reuse and reuse these casks to cut costs. And then with that, if you liken a cask to a tea bag, you get first use, you get all the flavor. Second use, you still get some flavor, but exponentially less and less with each successive use. So
how does that differ for, creating a bourbon and using the wood there and then bringing it over? So technically speaking, that would be the second time the cask is being used, correct?
So with the Magnus, we're using American oak casks. We're not using ex-bourbon casks. So we're actually sourcing our wood from the Ozarks in Spain. And then we're shipping it over Ozarks in Missouri. And then we're shipping it over to Jerez, Spain, where we then kind of season the casks with Oloroso sherry for about 12 months to 2 years. And then that's kind of our first fill cask. So we kind of season the cask with the sherry, whereas with those bourbon casks, they have to be used the fresh American oak for the bourbon, and then you're utilizing ex-bourbon casks. You're utilizing that kind of already ripped out flavored cask. So basically, because there's no regulation how many times you can use a cask in Scotch, age statements don't mean too much unless you have kind of a philosophy with the distillery, where with us at Highland Park, we only reuse our casks once. So that way we're getting all of the flavor and we're not kind of reusing these casks for just cost purposes. So with our Highland Park 12 and Magnus, we're going to be right around 30 to 50% of the first fill casks, and then anywhere between 70 and 50% of the one-time reused casks. Gotcha. So we're not trying to hide it that we're reusing casks, but we're not trying to put swill in the bottles as well. So if you have some distilleries that have integrity, I'll say Compass Box and Bruichladdich have integrity in their cask programs, then I'll actually believe and I'll trust that the age statement is actually a designator of quality. Whereas I don't know some of the other distilleries' transparencies in their cask usage.
Gotcha.
So that's my little soapbox on age statement. Yeah. Sorry.
No, that's great. Actually, I learned a lot from it. I obviously I'm doing multiple things here. I can't wait to watch this video back on YouTube. Just, learn. There was a really good bit that you said there. I think all of us can learn from it, regardless of how much experience we have with whiskey. Truth in Whiskey asks, do you or the distillery consider HB a Highland or Island whiskey?
So it is an Island whiskey. Island is basically the mutt term for every other distillery that's not on the mainland or in Islay. So there's no concise flavor profile or cap usage or anything with the island terminology. It's one of the most vague. It is the most vague Scotch area. So we are an island whiskey, island Scotch that is lightly peated and extensive sherry influenced.
Gotcha. That's good. Whiskey Edge asks, does that differentiate from the first fill, or does that just mean that the whiskey was put in the cask from day one instead of being finished in a cask?
So I'm going to kind of say what I think that question asked. Our first fill cask is going to be whiskey that is put into our casks at the distillery. So we get the barrels from Jerez, Spain, that already have had sherry into it, or have already had sherry season the casks. We ship that sherry back to the sherry bodegas, and then we ship that first fill cask to Scotland. So that's our first fill cask. And then with all of our whiskey, if it's in a cask, it's in a cask full term. We're not going to be switching liquid from different cask to different cask. We just feel that if we can taste the whiskeys in these different casks, we can create kind of like with salt, pepper, spices, this perfect blending of those different casks to create that perfect whiskey.
Gotcha. I can answer this question. Truth and Whiskey asks, being so far north and far from the airports, is a distillery a good place to visit? It's always a good place to visit. No matter what.
It is a special place up there. The hospitality is beyond compare. Just purely based on the fact that they're a little bit farther away from everything. They're excited to have people there. But it truly is an experience that I would highly suggest going to. You'll be able to walk through some of the warehouses, taste some of the most beautiful whiskey in the world. They'll have distillery-only exclusive bottlings. And just talking to the people that live and breathe Highland Park every single day, outside of me, but that live and breathe the operation sides of it, is something that's just really, really intensely amazing. And Highland Park, we do things a little bit old school, where we're hands-on in our distillation method, where you look at some of these larger scaled Scotch distilleries, and it's all automated. We have people that are actually doing things at the distillery, which is, in my personal opinion, refreshing. So highly, highly suggest going up there. And while you're up there, I'm a proponent of all whiskeys everywhere. If you're drinking good whiskey, you're drinking it right. Scapa is our neighbor, probably about 15 miles away. If you're going to be going up to the Orkney Islands to see Highland Park, go see Scapa as well.
That's awesome. Truth and Whiskey, I'm in the industry also as a wholesaler, so if you ever plan on going, as long as you give me like a month and a half, 2 months advance notice, or Zach, I'm sure we can make a call or send an email out to get you a VIP exclusive red carpet experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Whiskey Go says, any chance of bringing the 15 and 21 year?
So, 15 year is a no-go. I just found out a couple days ago that the 21 year is coming back.
Nice.
So that is very exciting. There's no timeline right now. We just kind of did our pricing meeting to figure that out, but be on the lookout for the 21, and then we do have another whiskey coming out that I don't know anything about. I just know the price point and the name is going to be Sauron. So be on the lookout for very, very high-end Highland Park Sauron coming out.
That's awesome. That's great. Whiskey Go says, woohoo! And then Pleasant and Scotch says, what will the 21 be called?
It's going to be 21, Highland Park 21.
Yeah. It's going to be called Highland Park 21 Zach Edition.
I hope so, but I don't think that's going to be a thing.
It would have been if you grew your beard out and braided it.
Hey, man. Price point, I believe, was going to be $250. But I am just a lowly ambassador. Do not quote me for any types of pricing. And like I said, please send Scotch. I know nothing about the whiskey itself for the Sauron, so I can't speak to anything about it.
Yeah, not yet, at least.
Not yet.
Eventually, he will know it all. So, excuse me while I sneeze. The weather is killing me. But anybody has any questions, now will be the time to basically bring those questions up. We're going to be doing another giveaway. Let's do the T-shirt, the medium T-shirt. What kind of question you have? So, guys, again, before he says the question, please, actually, let's do something different. Your sister company, your company, the parent company that you own by is Edrington, correct?
That's correct.
And the other brand, another baby brand that you have as part of Edrington is Macallan.
Baby brand.
Yeah, gotcha. So I'm going to be posting this video on my YouTube channel under the same name, Tonight's Poison. So the next answer, this is what I'm expecting to do. The next question that he's going to ask, I'm going to have a T-shirt for you guys under HP T-shirt. Go into the YouTube channel whenever you get a chance and find anything related to Edrington. I think there's a couple of Macallan videos there. And in the comment, post the answer. and that's basically we'll figure the winner that way. All right, so we'll do it that way. So go ahead. What's the question?
So question is, in the Highland Park 12 year, what are the two different types of casks that we use there? You guys didn't think this was going to be a school lesson, did you? Going to have to pay attention to everything I say.
All right, go back to the video. The video is going to be there for 24 hours. You can go back and skim through it and figure it out. Okay.
Gotta say hello to my buddy Frank that just joined, and then hello to PR Tapgo Hill. Sorry if I absolutely butchered that, which I know that I did, but hello.
And Whiskey Sidekick. Good dude there. Everybody's good. Sherry and bourbon. Pleasant and Scotch says. Yeah. So which one out of these two, between the Magnus and 12? I think 12 is your favorite for everyday drinking. That's what you said?
So it's a different one. So Magnus, just being that lovely price point, depending on where you're at, it's going to be sitting right around that $39 range. It's great for cocktails. It's great for... I make a lot of bets to people that say they don't like Scotch, and I put this in front of them and say, lies, you will actually like this. It's all based on kind of where you're going for the night and what's happening. If I were to just be drinking straight at all times, I'd say 12 year has a slight edge. However, if I wanted to get a little more versatile with it, it would be the Magnus. But you're making me pick, and I don't like doing that.
Gotcha. What are you a whiskey collector? I mean, have you been? Obviously, you're very passionate about whiskey. So, do you own a lot of other brands from the past?
So, I'm a peated Scotch fan.
Nice. Cheers.
In terms
Skål for that.
Skål. In terms of whiskey collector, I am a whiskey drinker.
I get it.
Never ever see an unopened bottle of whiskey in my house. So not necessarily. I do have a lot of different types of whiskeys. I'm a gin fan as well. I'm a fan of pretty much anything fermented and or distilled. And just like you said, you have a wine background. Back in the day, I was a sommelier, and I still do have the certification, I guess.
Oh, really cool. I didn't know that about you. That's awesome.
I try to do all the fun things, man.
Yeah.
A couple questions here. Truth and whiskey. Favorite Scotch cocktail? Honestly, it's going to be kind of a cop-out answer. It's going to be a highball. I like a standard Scotch and soda. I love bubbles. I love carbonated water, soda water. So just putting that, it truly accentuates what the whiskey's all about while making it light, bright, and refreshing at the same time. And then to Mo Grizz, Highland Park 18, will it ever come back? My friend, it never left. I'm not sure if you're thinking of some other kind of one-off 18-year release that we had.
This person's town, maybe for some reason, some distribution thing changed, and maybe it's not available in that city or the state or whatever, wherever he's from.
we could have an issue with some of the what is it called? Those control states. So I don't know.
Yeah, check out Wine Searcher. You'll find it in nearby states. Maybe someone could ship it to you.
So grain for Please Send Scotch. Does Magnus have grain in it? Do any HB expressions? The only grains that we have is just going to be 100% malted barley. That's kind of what to be a single malt Scotch you have to have. So that is what we do. And then I think there was one other question. Thought I saw something about HP Dolphin. So HP Dolphin was a very, very, very limited release meant to commemorate the naval force in the UK. That I have no idea anything about the actual liquid itself. All I know is about kind of what it commemorates. It is going to be a non-age statement exclusive release. Very, very delicious from what I hear, but my guess is it's going to be a little bit elevated from the Magnus. That is just going to be that's all that I know about that.
Gotcha. What about all the some really high end stuff or collector stuff that Highlands come out with, and there's very like Thor and things like that?
So we kind of have. Sorry, I gotta plug the phone in. Um, we'll always have one kind of overarching high-end expression that's going to be in our core range. The most recent release, kind of the light and the dark, are 17.
Uh-oh. I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Sorry, kind of had a little hiccup on my phone there.
Yeah, all good.
But yeah, so we'll always have kind of one high-end range. Back before that, it was the Fire and the Ice. And then before that was going to be the Valhalla series, where we had the Thor, the Loki, the Odin, the Freya. So it's all about just what our master whiskey maker, Gordon Motion, sees in our warehouse and sees the availability and the opportunity to make some delicious frickin' whiskey out of.
Yeah. Have you tried all those? The Thor and
Yes.
that entire series? Which one was your favorite out of all those?
So Thor was one of the most expressive and one of the most intense flavored. However, the Odin was, by far and away my favorite. And the bottle of the Odin is just what I think accentuates what Highland Park and what Scotch should be all about.
Gotcha.
Please send Scotch another question about the HP12 and the HP12 Viking Honor. It is the exact same juice, just different bottling. I think I hear this question a lot, that you get some different flavors in the old packaging versus the new packaging. But basically what's happening is whenever you make a run of whiskey, you're utilizing a human being's sense of smell and taste to create this flavor profile. And I think that every single run is going to be a unique and different flavor. However hard we try to create a consistent and distinct flavor profile, for instance, our 12-year. So obviously when we went from the old packaging to the new packaging, it was a new run of whiskey, so it might be slightly different. The reasons for these differences is going to be the yield in the barley, the sugar content in the barley, there's a lot of different factors, the temperature and the climate during the maturation process. So we're just trying to create a consistent flavor profile, and I think that those very minute and slight differences in those different runs of whiskey were way more accentuated with just that different bottling.
Gotcha.
So if there's a different flavor in between the two different packagings, there might be, but we're not changing anything. We're not putting subpar or above par whiskey. We're trying to create and maintain that integrity of our Highland Park 12.
Gotcha. We got about a 5-minute warning here, roughly. I think it's going to cut off in about 5 minutes. It's going to give me a 30 seconds warning when it happens. So I'll give you, I'll let you know when that does happen. But before we get to closing, I just want to maybe do one more little contest. So obviously I have a lot of different stashes at home. I have my own Tonight's Poison glass. I still have some HP stuff left here. So a lot of you guys signed on afterwards. As soon as this Instagram live is over, take a selfie of yourself holding a bottle, whatever Highland Park bottle you have at home that you're drinking to right now. DM me that picture, and I'm going to be basically picking 2 random winners to send something nice to. All right, so just as one last contest, we'll do that. I want to give a big thanks to you for doing this with me. I really appreciate it. We've been talking about it since Chicago. I met you, a month and a half ago? Time goes by so quick.
Probably a little bit longer, too, yeah.
Yeah, and I really appreciate you doing this with me. I just want to do a really quick plug for what this is about. I'm in an industry, and I go out a lot and do a lot of these events where you're surrounded by hundreds and thousands of people. For example, I was at Whiskey Fest in New York just a couple days ago. I had a VIP ticket, was 10 minutes late getting into VIP.
You
And
messed up.
it was mobbed. It was mobbed. I could not go to a table. I had to wait 10 minutes before I get a pour, and forget about talking to the person behind the table. It's impossible. So if you're a whiskey aficionado or somebody a novice who wants to learn, you cannot learn at those events. It's unfortunate. There's such great events. You get to try different things, but you cannot try everything. So I came up with this idea to do this, is to basically be at home, comfort your own home. And I have obviously access to certain people like Zach himself, which is hard to have a one-on-one 5-minute conversation at a whiskey fest or any other show. So basically it was like about being at home in the comfort of your own home. And normally I'm wearing suits and stuff at those events. I always do this. I'm going to do it again. At home, you could do this. Shorts. I drink and I know things. And Highland Park, baby. So that's my spiel on that angle. Zach, thank you so much. In closing, whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
Cool.
Anything about the brand itself, Instagram, anything you want.
I'll just answer the last two questions that I saw on there. Average age of Magnus. So we're still in the first run of Magnus, and it was a 10-year-old run. As you go further out and extrapolate a couple of years, I can't guarantee the age, but it will be right around that 10-year-old. And then Mo Grizz does Highland Park bottle single barrel and cask strength, and that is 100% yes. We've done about 27 different single casks, focusing around a city. I'm not sure where you are, but right around me, we have Detroit called the Revival. We have a New York bottling called Gotham. We have a San Fran bottle that I forget what it's called. But we do a lot of different things. We do have some cask strength as well. And Tiffany's, Valkyrie Valknut. And then we're still determining the name, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be Valfather for the next one. And it is, in terms of my favorites,
Luke, I'm your rock father.
Valfather, baby. In terms of my favorites in quality, it goes Valknut, then Valkyrie. And I think the Valfather is going to answer all of those very, very, very nicely and be just absolutely amazing. But to end everything, I just want to say thank you guys all for bearing through us talking and chit-chatting and just taking some time out of your lives. And I hope that you guys have a lovely holiday. Enjoy some of the best whiskey in the world, and just have some delicious whiskey and share with your friends.
Absolutely. Cheers, everybody, for coming on. Big shout out and skål to my friend here, Zach. Thank you. It was a pleasure meeting you in Chicago. Let's stay in touch. If you're ever back towards East Coast in this area, New York, New Jersey, please hit me up. We'll catch a dram together, and maybe we'll invite some of the local guys over here to meet you in person. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. Happy holidays. Cheers. What's your poison? Tonight is Highland Park.
Skål, baby.
There you go. Thanks, Zach. I'll give you a call.
Cheers.